Hello everyone, this is Zifei. Today, let's talk a little bit about traditional Chinese theater, which more commonly is translated as Chinese opera. Chinese opera is a comprehensive performing art which combines singing, music, dialogues, operatic, material art, and pantomime. What appeals to foreigners the most might be the different styles of facial makeup, costumes, and masks, which are exaggerated colorful and could symbolize the character's personality, role, and fate. Translated as opera, music is definitely a distinctive feature of Chinese opera, as well as dancing like movements. The performing could be highly stylish and requires special techniques. For example,
樱红开闭，四者不斗风雨。
Did you get the idea of the lady and her maid are visiting the garden and enjoying the beautiful view of springtime? Did you enjoy their song and dancing? Well, many foreigners sometimes joke that it sounds like someone is strangling a cat. This is most unfair, as it is a highly developed art form that many simply do not understand. But don't worry, today let's break down the comprehensive system of Chinese opera and discuss 6 interesting facts of it. Hopefully, after this video, you can get an overall idea about this peculiar art form. You may heard statements like Chinese opera, together with Greek tragedy comedy and India's Sanskrit opera, are the 3 oldest dramatic art forms in the world. Well, it's definitely true. Chinese opera is much younger an art form. The most famous Greek plays were written in around 6th to 4th century BCE, and the Sanskrit opera could be dated back in the 1st century CE. On the other hand, though Chinese opera have some rudiments long before, only around 7th century it becomes to its shape. During Tang Dynasty, Emperor Taizong established an opera school with a politic name called Li Yuan, the Pear Garden. From that time on, performance of Chinese opera are referred as disciples of Pear Garden. Since Yuan Dynasty, that's around 14th century, it has been encouraged by the officials and the empires, and it becomes a traditional art form. During Qing Dynasty, it is around the 17th century, it became fashionable among ordinary people. Well, you may think it is still a 100 years old art form. It is true, but the interesting fact is, other Chinese art forms like literature, music, painting, and sculptures all could be dated back to the 4th century BCE. That is almost the same time period of the prosperous of Greek theater. By the time Chinese theater started to form, the ecosystem of Chinese art is already highly developed. That is to say, Chinese theater is not an independent art that grows at the same time with the others. It is established on some already matured arts. The stories of Chinese opera are frequently adapted from novels and historical stories. The lines of the play, on the other hand, are always influenced or even excerpted from famous poetries. Most of all, the authentic pursuit of Chinese theater is rooted in the long existing authentic tradition. Generally, it could be called 写意. 写意originated from fresh-hand brushwork in traditional Chinese painting. It means display the connotations without realistic forms. A Chinese painting master Qi Baishi explained the essence of Xie Yi painting is in between the similarity and dissimilarities. Although we use the word Chinese opera as a singular form, the opera that popular in different parts of China could be very different. The most obvious difference among them is they use different dialects. As Chinese is written in hieroglyphic characters instead of spelling out the pronunciation, people living in different parts of China who use the same written language could pronounce the same word very differently. As an oral art form, the opera need to speak the language of the local people to get understood. Let's take a look at the map here. Each different color here represents an influential form of opera, except of the dark green pieces here, which represent the others. For example, the purple here represents Yue opera, and it is popular among here in Yue area and speaking Yue dialects. Similarly, Chuan opera is popular among Chuan area and speaking Chuan dialect. The most famous type of Chinese opera is Beijing opera. It is a special case here. Beijing is the capital city of China, and Beijing dialect is the official language of the whole country. That is to say, more or less, people from all over the country know about Beijing dialect. For this reason, Beijing opera is also called national opera, to distinguish it from the local operas. Chinese opera catalog the roles based on gender, age, social status, and positive or negative function of the character. The catalogs for different types of theaters could have small difference, but their similarity is greater. Each catalog of characters have different performing styles, so the actors normally only study the performing techniques of one type of characters. Take Beijing opera as an example. The roles in Beijing opera had more catalogs during the earlier age, and with the development, it divides into four main roles. They were Sheng, Dan, Jing, Chou. Sheng is the male role in Beijing opera. Sheng, according to the age, personality, social status of the character, is distributed into Lao Sheng, Xiao Sheng, Wen Sheng, Wu Sheng. Lao Sheng is a bearded mid-aged or old man, who in most cases is a positive character. Xiao Sheng is a handsome young man, who can either be a scholar or military general. Those who specialize in singing and reciting are termed Wen Sheng, while those who are skilled in stage fighting are called Wu Sheng. Dan is a general term in Beijing opera for all female roles, according to the age, status, and personality of the character, and the style in acting. Dan is further divided into Zheng Dan, Hua Dan, Wu Dan, and Lao Dan. Zheng Dan is also called Qingyi because they always wear Qingyi, a black costume. Zheng Dan is a type representing gentle and virtuous young and mid-aged women. In this type of roles, much stress is given in singing. Hua Dan is a role for maids or lower-class girls, who is either vivacious or shirts in character. Emphasis is placed on acting or recitation in this type. Wu Dan is a role for women in military, and Lao Dan is a role for old women. Jing is also known as Hua Lian, a role with a painted face, who is a man of special characters, features, and personalities. Jing is further divided into Wen Jing, who lay particular emphasis on singing, and Wu Jing, those specialty on action scenes. The face on Jing role is painted with variety of colors and patterns, which are not only an artist's exaggeration, but also an identification of the personality of the character. Chou is a clown, a humorous and funny fellow. A female clown is called Chou Dan. Normally, is played by a male actor to exaggerate the ugliness of the character. A Chou always paint his nose powdered white and wear upside-down mustache so as to give a comedy effect. In the earlier period, Chinese opera was staged on a special stage. The front of the stage extends forward, with three sides facing the audience. The other side is the back stage. A decorated curtain hangs across backstage, and on each side of the curtain there is a curtain door for the performers to enter and exit the stage. Coming onto the stage from the entrance door, and the actor with full makeup and costume play his role. At the conclusion as he's performing, he goes off stage through the exit door. It means the end of the show or the transition to another part of the play. On the stage are placed for props and decorative nature, usually a table and two chairs. An imaginary room comes with the presence of a table and two chairs. In the mind of the audiences, the place around the table and the chair could be a palace, a study, a court where suspects are tied, or a military commander's tent. Or it can be a boisterous restaurant. The difference lies in the decoration of the table and the chairs. If it's a palace, the decoration will have dragon patterns. If it's a study, the table curtain will be a light blue or light green color and embroidered with zero ochres. A lot of learning goes into how to place the table and chair. If the chair is placed behind the table, it shows a solemn occasion. An umpire holds a court, an official officiates, or a general handles a military affair. If the chair is placed in front of the table, it shows an ordinary household daily life. A table can serve as a bed, a support for observing a distant object from a great height, a bridge, a gate tower, a mountain, or even a cloud. The chair can serve as a door holder for the invisible door or a weapon for the characters. In Beijing opera, such a simple method is used to portray a rich plot. When enjoying Beijing opera, it is not necessary to seek realness. Audiences are given a great room of imagination. A table and two chairs has become a symbolic mark of Chinese opera's less is more way of portrayal. Applauding and cheering are commonly found in many kinds of theaters, and the case is not an exception in traditional Chinese theater. Hao, the word means good in Chinese, is used to express the comment. The process is called 叫好, which literally means cry out hao in Chinese theater business. Generally speaking, in the theater that Western audiences are familiar with, audience normally cheer at the end of the play or a scene, and cheering in the middle of the scene can be considered as inappropriate or impolite. However, in traditional Chinese theater, Hao is yelled toward the stage all the time. In fact, besides showing satisfaction, the connotation of cheering Hao could be very abundant based on the timing. A good 叫好 should follow an outstanding performing, which could be an enjoyable singing, a difficult stunt, a brilliant line, or a fabulous instrument playing. Meanwhile, a perfect 叫好 should not be interrupting, especially should not cover the actor's voice. Sometimes actors intentionally display a high technical performing and leave a place for 叫好. Understanding where are the places that audience normally 叫好 is barely the first step of being an expert audience. As simple as it seems to be, 叫好 could be an art. The voice should be sonorous and pleasant to hear. The timing should be accurate and bending in the rhythm of the play, and it should co-work excellently with other theater elements. Being a qualified audience of traditional Chinese theater is much more complex a process than buying a ticket and sitting in the audience seat. The new audiences need to learn from more experienced ones by observing them or formally take someone as a teacher. The teacher could lead new audiences go through the educational process and learn the customary participation method and the knowledge to appreciate the performing techniques. In fact, the education could never end since there are always more details to know. Although it might cost new audiences more effort to walk into the theater, it is a delightful effort to make, and while the new audience gain more and more experience to the knowledge, they could feel the privilege of decoding the performing and find the beauty hiding under the abstract symbols.